You are probably coming to Black Panther: Wakanda Forever for the touching tribute to Chadwick Boseman, but you're going to be staying for Namor. Hey everyone, it's Sean O'Connell, the managing editor here at CinemaBlend, with a spoiler-free review of Ryan Coogler's new film, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. This is a highly anticipated entry into the Marvel Cinematic Universe for a number of different reasons. One, we want to see how Marvel is going to handle the loss of Chadwick Boseman off screen and what it will mean for King T'Challa and the nation of Wakanda, but also because this movie will introduce a whole new corner of the MCU that's led by Namor, an important character from the comic books who is going to make his debut in the Marvel Cinematic Universe through this movie. So there's a lot to get to. Again, a reminder, no spoilers. You can just go in and hear my reaction to the new movie, and we'll figure out how what works really well and maybe discuss one or two things that didn't really work well, but I'm saving all of the surprises for you guys when you head to the theaters. To keep track with everything that we're doing here at CinemaBlend, we want to make sure that you hit subscribe and turn on your notification, because we're going to be posting videos especially about Black Panther leading up to the film's release, and then plenty of analysis following through. And we want to make sure that you keep it right here on CinemaBlend. So we have to start, of course, with Chadwick Boseman, whose legacy is going to be felt in the Black Panther franchise and the Marvel Cinematic Universe for years to come. So I really thought this was a very touching tribute and a cathartic experience for the way that Ryan Coogler and his cast handled the loss of Chadwick Boseman. It's an extremely difficult subject for them to get into, and they don't shy away from it in any way, shape, or form. You can tell from the trailers that there are going to be references to Chadwick throughout the film. One of the driving plots is how is Wakanda going to move on now that King T'Challa is no longer there. They're vulnerable to an attack, and that's essentially how Namor is going to factor in. But, you know, when you step back and think about how complicated this had to have been, not just for Coogler, but for the entire cast who, worked with Chadwick Boseman, who was so integral to the forming of Black Panther as a character, of the franchise, of how he factored into Captain America: Civil War and the Avengers films that he was part of. It's a significant loss, and it's a difficult angle for any franchise to head into, because you don't want to view it through the lens of a superhero comic book blockbuster. This is a loss of an extremely talented artist at too young of an age. And I can report that Black Panther: Wakanda Forever takes that very, very seriously and pays extremely close attention to the work that Chadwick Boseman did and the legacy that he is clearly going to leave behind on the MCU moving forward. So if you're ready to head into this one to see how Marvel handles Chadwick Boseman and King T'Challa, I think you're going to leave the film extremely satisfied. So Marvel has a habit of introducing new characters in existing films, whether it be Spider-Man and Black Panther in Captain America: Civil War, or the way that we're seeing new characters introduced throughout Phase 4. And a big new character coming to the MCU, courtesy of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, is Namor, the Submariner, a significant character from the comics who is played by Tenoch Huerta. And he is spectacular. I don't want to say he steals the movie away, because so much about the film is still focused on Wakanda and the way that the nation is healing. And you're going to be talking about Angela Bassett's performance in this film probably through the award season. But it's a really complicated way that they portray Namor and his native kingdom of Talokan, which is underneath the water. And we've had some examples of other movies that have dabbled with how they're going to show characters that exist beneath the sea. James Wan's Aquaman, of course, being a major example, and we're getting ready to see some more of it in the upcoming Avatar sequel, Avatar: The Way of Water. But I love the way that Ryan Coogler figured out how to do the Submariner in this film. It feels extremely practical. Without sort of being able to show it to you, you're going to feel like they just went underneath the ocean and figured out ways to film these cast members. And it's mind-boggling because I can't quite figure out 100%. I want to go back and see it a second time, how they made that underwater world seems so alive. And yet the thing about Namor is that he's able to also come out of the water and flex his powers. And I've heard Ryan Coogler saying in recent interviews that Namor is actually as strong as Thor, and if he's around water, can be as powerful as Hulk. So for all the talk about Black Adam shifting the power hierarchy in the DCU, I honestly do think that the introduction of Namor is going to be a game changer for the Marvel Cinematic Universe because of his impact on such teams as the Fantastic Four and the Avengers. And in terms of casting, Marvel just knocked it out of the park. Like, Tenoch Huerta is a perfect choice for Namor. He is intimidating, he is powerful, he is formidable, and I can't wait to see how Marvel uses him going forward. I guarantee you're going to be leaving this movie talking about his performance and his portrayal as Namor and trying to figure out where they're going to bring him back through Phase 5 and Phase 6. So far, I've been raving about Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, and I really did like the movie. But there are some minor nitpicks that I'm going to talk about briefly here. But one of them in particular is just the amount of story that is packed into this movie. It's a long film. It's over 2.5 hours long, and there are a lot of plot threads that need to get sort of explored. And I think that Ryan Coogler invests most of his time into 90% of them, and then there's like a 10% of them that you feel like could have either been more developed in this film or possibly removed and saved for another project. And that is unfortunately what I believe happens with Riri Williams. Now, a fantastic character and a really great introduction to the return of an Iron Man type character with the Tony Stark armor and another genius in the form of Riri Williams, who is going to go on to play Ironheart. But the way that they sidebar to factor her into this story feels a little bit like an add-on, and I wanted that character to have more time to shine because I think she's really fascinating and I love the way that she's portrayed in this movie. I don't want to like relegate her to a Disney Plus, series essentially, but there's so much going on between the loss of King T'Challa, the nation of Wakanda trying to bring itself back up together, the fight for vibranium, the introduction of Namor, the exploration of that kingdom undersea, and the global ramifications of everything that's happening in the story, that when you get to someone like Riri Williams or even some of the other smaller tribes of Wakanda that have a couple of things going on, it does feel like a lot. And Ryan Coogler, I think, does a fantastic job trying to juggle it all, but I will be lying if I said that there were just a few times when I felt the length of the picture, and I think it's because of the amount of story that they tried to pack in. All that being said, I'm going to give Black Panther: Wakanda Forever a solid 4 stars out of 5. I think that the initial Black Panther film, which I gave 4.5 out of 5, is slightly better. And it's a different tone. This is a very somber film. This is again, I mentioned cathartic because it's an emotional ride. And while there is some superhero action and some fun elements to it, it is without a doubt a weighty and complicated drama to get through, but I think they do a significant job of getting through it, and I think that fans are going to really appreciate what they did. We're going to be able to talk Black Panther: Wakanda Forever spoilers as the film finally reaches theaters and more people are going to be able to see it. So in order to make sure that you are keeping touch with everything going on here at CinemaBlend, hit subscribe, turn on your notifications, and we will see you back here with our next original video.